Welcome to Whose Review Matters Anyway, the podcast where the show notes are made up and the reviews don't matter, just like that second refill you get from buying a large popcorn. Who the fuck
Oh
is
my
gonna get
god.
that large free refill? Go
I've
ahead, Mike.
seen
Go
it.
ahead. You're the one that is all for it. I find no point to getting that refill.
It's like no, like it's almost like when somebody buying a hot dog in the movie theater. You know.
Oh, don't start with that. No, next.
Okay.
Well, no,
No. Okay.
Sal,
Okay.
you have four people. You can't finish a popcorn.
We can finish the popcorn, but my point. Okay, so this started with a conversation Mike and I were having before we came on the air. Was that I don't understand who in the right mind is going to get up in the middle of a movie to go refill their popcorn bucket and then come back and be that asshole that has to talk to their friend and be like, "Hey, what did I miss?" And then the friend has to explain everything that they missed. It's like at that point, if you're
Hmm.
if you're leaving, then you just don't like the movie. Then why even bother like trying to catch up, or why even bother coming back? Just stay out of
Do
there.
you think?
And
Well, do you think it's crazier to get the popcorn as you're leaving and be like, "I want a refill to
a
go"?
little bit, because like what are you doing with that large popcorn? Is that like your dinner or your lunch or whatever it is? Like you're not going out to eat. You're not gonna like grab something for the family or
Hmm.
anything out. You're like that's it. That's all. You're I mean, if you're on a budget, I guess so, but like, there's no point. A free refill on the drink, totally understandable. A drink applies anywhere, but a popcorn bucket, nah. That's
All right. What about this though? Like, okay, this is my defense on it because I collect those popcorn buckets. I collect popcorn buckets, the large size popcorn buckets that they have cool designs outside of it. I do not purchase any popcorn bucket that it's like for an example, like the Thor hammer. I would not purchase that. Why? Because you're paying $30 and you're paying the same amount of the equivalent of a small popcorn because that's the capacity that it can hold, right? So I purchase the big ones, and I don't eat that by myself. I share that with my wife, right? And I
Okay,
okay, but check this out. He's questioning about refunds, like who's going to, I
no
mean,
refill.
refill. Sorry,
Oh,
refill.
I can question
And
something else. I mean, if you're collecting them, would you not want popcorn in them to begin with?
no, I do want popcorn with begin.
Okay,
That's the purpose of me buying them. Sometimes, like,
I thought
okay,
it
for
was
an
to
example,
collect them.
no. They're collect. I mean, I collect them, but I also eat out of them as well too. Like if I'm in the house and I'm making popcorn, like I'm making 2 bags of popcorn that me and my wife could share, and we use that instead
Do
of
you
just
do you wash it? Do you clean it?
yes, of course.
yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's clean. It's not no greasy ass
No,
popcorn shit
no, of
anymore.
No,
course not.
that's
Hell
what
no,
I
no.
do.
So I'm using
Okay.
I'm doing what they're made for. I'm not just purchasing it just to purchase it and to have them on my shelf and collect dust. No.
Okay,
I'm using
but
it properly.
but buying a large popcorn collectible is different from than just buying a regular large popcorn bucket. Like it's
True.
two separate
True.
things. Like no one's judging on the buying the collectible. Yeah, of course, it looks fucking cool. It's sweet. You get to use it at home. Awesome. But if
Oh,
you're
I'm
buying a big
judging
ass
about
popcorn
getting
bucket,
that popcorn stuff.
you're
I'm
not getting
judging.
a refill. Like I can't bring the popcorn bucket back the next day. I
Right.
mean, I'm sure people have, but like
Check
I'm
this
as
out though.
someone there's at least one person in that theater smart enough to be like, I saw you walk in with that popcorn bucket. I don't think we're supposed to
Mhm.
give you a refill.
True. But the thing is that also too, those popcorn buckets come with a combo with the drink. So that's why it's $30. And also too, if you're buying that ginormous popcorn, I could imagine somebody be like, "Hey, I'm buying this ginormous popcorn, so everybody who wants to share with me has to meet me halfway or whatever." But I'm collecting the bucket. Like I pay the most, but just give me $5 towards the bucket, and I'll let you like have some popcorn.
Oh, some legality stuff there. I don't know
Yeah, I'm like,
in that sense. But I just
mm,
like if I get a free refill, why not just like give me a second popcorn bucket? Like just at that point, just give me a second popcorn bucket and call it a day. Like you might as well just charge me. Like it shouldn't
No, I
be
mean why? You
$10 or
already have a
15 bucks
bucket.
for the one. No, but like I'm not going back for the refill. I'm not leaving in the middle of a movie
I
to
see
go
what he's saying.
refill my
Well, how
popcorn.
about if it
No,
was
I
a
see what
small
you're
one?
saying as well too. I see what you're saying as well too. But okay, for an example, right? Um, we bought a we brought our no, what was it? I forgot what bucket we bought during when we watched the
This
Northmen.
guy, book it.
We we bought a bucket that they had available still, and we bought the North and we watched the Northmen. We me and my wife we finished the popcorn whatever. My wife was bored of the film of the Northman where she got up and got a refill and came back. So like I kind of understand, but she didn't fill it all the way. She said, "Can I just get it halfway?"
Ah,
All I know is I don't need to hear you guys complain about tickets if you're spending $30 for a soda and popcorn.
oh, which reminds me, because we get a couple tangents on this topic before we get into the main movie
Oh
topic.
yeah,
By the way, um,
yeah.
AMC does matinee pricing, and holy shit, I was shocked by how much I paid for 4 tickets. We went to go see Elemental on Thursday.
How much did you pay
32 bucks total for all four of us.
for a
Nice.
matinee?
Yeah, 4 o'clock. We went to a 4 o'clock showing. The guy said 32, and I'm like, oh, it's two adults and two kids. He's like, yeah, I know.
So what
And
is
I
it?
thought
10, 10,
I
5,
felt like
and
an
5?
asshole because I was like questioning him. I'm like,
What the
wait,
hell?
it's still 32? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, holy shit! Not even Regal does this shit. Like,
Eight
what the hell?
eight dollars.
Because like I always have to pay like 50 bucks for the four of us at Regal when we go over there, and then it's like no, like 32 was like, fuck, we're getting all the popcorn and candy at this point.
Let me
So
see here.
AMC.
Yeah,
Although
check
I will
those
say this,
prices. Somebody
I will
somebody check those.
I will say this though, that even though that they do like cheaper tickets, their concessions is overpriced as fuck though.
Yeah, they are. I hate them. They're disgusting.
So I mean, you take. I guess you gotta give and take. Gotta give and
The
take
good and the
sometimes.
bad.
Yeah, the good and the bad. Speaking of bad, Mike has a rant he wants to go off of, which we discussed before on his podcast, multiple like at least once, but Mike wants to bring it up again.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm
I
going to
swear, if he
sound.
says hot dog, I'm leaving.
What? No, no, it's not a hot dog. Shut up before I put a hot dog in your mouth. So
You wish.
it's not a wish. Way
Everything
later on,
everywhere
big
all at
boy.
once.
Yeah, you know, hot dog fingers, bro. Um, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to sound like a dick,
Yeah,
but I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry, I don't give a fuck. And more likely, not a lot of people are going to hear this, right?
better
But
not be a baby again.
but I gotta mention this, okay? During my watch of the Flash, right? And then we're gonna review the Flash in a bit,
Oh yeah, that's all.
and that's all. But I've mentioned this before about parents taking their kids to the movie theater.
Oh yes, it is. Oh my
Okay, I have to mention this again because
It's
this
valid.
it's this experience that I've had is worse. I think this was the worst experience I've had in a movie theater. Okay, I could understand that if you're taking your kids to, I don't know, for an example, Elemental, just like how Sal did, and how a lot of parents will bring their kids to even the Mario movie and stuff like that. It's it's reasonable, and I expect it. Okay, and that's fine, and I'm expecting that for them to be joyful, to laugh, and everything like that, right? But when you're taking your kid to a live action film, when there's no cartoons, there's nothing, of course, it's a superhero film, but it's not a kid's film, right? And you bring a child and he's fucking bored and he's like being super loud, going on the phone, and you're using your own phone in a movie theater, you're putting the volume all the way fucking high, and then somebody tells you turn it off please, and then you take the phone away from the kid and the kid starts fucking crying and crying and crying during the whole fucking film. Don't you as a parent need to be like, you know what, I have to be considerate for other people who actually came here, who bought money, who spend money to come and see this film? I need to leave the theater. Okay, if you cannot afford a fucking babysitter and you're going to a live action film, do not take your kids to the movie theater because you're going to be considered as a fucking selfish parent. It sounds so fucking mean to say that, but I'm not a parent. I don't. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have this in the back of my head of, you know what? The moment that if I do have a kid and I want to watch a film, but I don't have a babysitter, I have nobody to take care of my kid. Guess what? I have to wait until it's on live streaming or on Amazon where I could pay $20 or $30 to watch the film. What the fuck is hard? How is that really hard? Just to think that's
I'm gonna put the fault on Mike here, and I think he needs to go and afford another movie theater because the one he's going to sounds shitty.
no, but the thing is that I've gone to other movie theaters and it's always the same shit. I think it regardless, no matter what movie theater. I'm speaking for like the population of everybody who's gone through that. And poor guy who was sitting next to that kid. Oh my god, I would have just fucking left. There's
You mean the
times where
parent?
I mean, sure,
But
fuck.
this was opening night though, right?
This was opening night,
Yeah. So
Oh, duh.
say what you
but
will about the Flash, whether you hate it or liked it or whatever. Like it's a movie that people are anticipating to watch, right? They're expected to
Yeah.
have a good time.
yeah,
They have this like, oh man, I've been looking forward to this movie or whatever. And then in comes this like little kid that's crying or a baby or parent brings their toddler in. And they're just running around or whatever. Like that's not like that's just very bad like cinema etiquette there.
Sure.
You have to sacrifice like if this is a movie you really want to watch and you want to watch opening night because you can't avoid spoilers but you got to take care of your kid, you got to sacrifice the movie, man, because even you wouldn't enjoy watching a movie you have to chase your kid or have to deal with your kid crying next to you or anything like that. Like there's just no point. When I went to go see The Flash, we had a kid that was crying like in the first like probably like started during the trailers and then like maybe the first 10 minutes and then eventually I didn't hear from the kid anymore. So I don't know what happened to the kid that
they
I
killed the kid.
He died.
but yeah, it was like kind of like I wasn't really looking forward to the Flash, but at the same time, I don't want this kid to like really ruin my experience with the movie because like that could like kind of make or break it for somebody to enjoy the movie. Like, I mean, I don't know.
Maybe.
For Mike, you don't spoil your rating just yet, but like, did that affect your take on the movie in any way?
Yes and no. It's like in the middle. Like I was paying attention to the film the whole entire time, but I had to like instead of me being relaxed and just try to enjoy the film, I had to like concentrate 10 times harder, where it became unrelaxing
Yeah.
ish. But like I know how I feel about the film. Um, it's like I don't know how to say this properly, but like I know how I feel about the film, and it's like I already know how I feel, and I already know my rating for it. You know, but during the movie, I'm like, yo, this shit fucking sucks. Like, this kid is ruining my fucking experience of the film.
Yeah. So parents just leave your kids at home, get a babysitter, or just stay at home and just wait another day till.
Would it be fucked up if somebody said, "Yo, can you shut him up"? Would it be messed up? Will you, as a parent, like I don't know,
You
would
weren't
that
watching
mess
Little
up?
Mermaid, so you're fine.
I mean, I'm the considerate parent that if my kid is gonna cry, I'm gonna leave. Like when I went to go watch The Force Awakens, I brought my daughter into the movie theater in a stroller, but I
Wait,
that
how old
but
was
right.
she?
Oh, she was how old was she when that movie came out? I don't
You
remember.
tell me.
But it would have been it would have been my second time I think watching the movie. Was it? Wait, was it Force Awakens or Rogue One? It was one of the Star Wars movies. I don't remember, but it was one of the Star Wars movies. She was still in the stroller. She was still like just like I want to say maybe a year old, or maybe a little less, or give or take a couple months. But regardless, I sat right next to the exit, and I'm like, okay, as soon as this kid cries, I'm leaving. Like I'm gonna go. Like that's why I'm at the exit because I'm not gonna ruin everyone's experience of watching Star Wars. I've seen this, or as much as I love the movie, I want to go see it again. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna go leave because that is not okay for me to leave a kid crying in a movie theater and ruin everyone else's experiences because this could be their first time watching the movie. So yeah,
Did she cry?
no, no, she slept
Oh,
most of the time.
Nice.
I remember my mom did leave the theater one time with my little brother, and I was sitting down there by myself watching the whole entire film.
So your mom left you, but
My mom left me alone, and
back.
yeah, and I remember it was in Disney
That
Springs.
explains a lot.
I think she was like, "This is the moment I could leave him."
Oh god! All
I'm
right,
sure it was a DC movie too. All right.
It was
I think
actually Bad Boys too.
those were our
Bad
movie
Boys for life.
tangents. Those were our movie tangents that we were gonna get on. I guess we can go on to our main topic of discussion,
I
which is
need to
not
get
Transformers, because someone out of the three of us, not Ham and I, because we went to go do our homework assignment, someone didn't watch Transformers like we all thought we were supposed to.
Oh, what a dick! Who was that?
I don't know, but I bet
Dickless
their mom
Dick.
left them in the movie one day.
Do I gotta watch Bumblebee before watching this one?
No, not really. There's a
Okay.
there's like a 2-second reference, but other than that, no.
Yeah, for like maybe one.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we're just gonna go ahead and talk about The Flash, which I guess did any of us really? I didn't really care much for this movie. I don't think Mike did either, or Ham.
I
Right?
didn't care.
Oh, I did when they're like Batman.
Oh, sure, when Michael Keaton was there, but
Yeah.
in that case, it's only for Michael Keaton, not so much about the Flash, because
Yeah.
that whole
Well,
controversy behind Ezra Miller and shit, and this
yes.
movie getting delayed so many times, and
Yep.
I guess there was a recent thing about how it went through a couple of different endings because of the different ownerships that DC was going through between HBO and between Discovery, and now being owned by
James
whatever
Gunn.
else. There's a lot of shit that happened with this movie. So lo and behold, it finally comes out right before James Gunn starts his DCU, whatever universe he wants
Okay,
to.
but can we talk about that article that I saw? I don't know if I didn't read it. It just said that he considers Blue Beetle the first one.
Yes,
It
he's
was good show.
considered. He in the podcast that he was in, he said that Blue Beetle is the first superhero for his universe, but the first real superhero is Superman.
But he said
Okay.
The Flash was the first movie.
No, he said that Flashpoint. I mean, sorry, the Flash and Aquaman are not part of his universe. The Flash is supposed to hit a reset button. We'll talk about that in a bit. But he said the Flash is supposed to hit the reset button of to bring the new universe of gun universe.
I don't know. It's confusing. I'm just
We'll
gonna
talk
watch
more
the
about it in a
movies.
bit.
I'm
Yeah,
just gonna watch the movies as is and not expect much of anything else.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I have higher expectations, or at least higher hopes for Blue Beetle than I did initially coming into The Flash.
Yeah, my
I don't like
expectations.
the trailer. I don't like the trailer.
Oh, I love the trailer.
For Blue Beetle, really?
I love the trailer. It looked
I
better than
think
the Flash itself.
the ones I've seen, the sound isn't loud enough, and it like really affects the trailer.
Huh.
I don't
Interesting.
know. My expectations for the Flash were like -10
-10.
or more
or less. All right, The
or less.
Flash.
Yes.
Here we go. IMDb gives The Flash a 7.4 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 67%.
Okay.
Now, Ham got lost in the multiverse and tried
Not
to
the first
travel as
time.
fast as he
Speed
could
Force.
to reclaim his original spot, but couldn't because there was no alcohol, and he was confused as to why everyone was kind of sort of liking this movie, which is why 86% of Google users
Whoa.
like this movie.
Wow. Okay.
So that's quite a range, 70, 60, and 80. All right.
There was a record that when it first came out that the audience gave it a 95%, but that was like before the film came out.
That's like the first, like, it only takes one person, right, to write a super positive review, and then, like, they snapshot it and be like, look at us, we're 99% on Rotten.
Yeah, how do people not understand that the percentage is good because
People
not everyone, like only 2 people maybe have seen the movie. How
people
do
are very
people not get that?
gullible. Yeah, it's like my friend, like he sent me that, and I'm like, the film just came out, right?
Yeah.
But
So
also, there's whether you want to call it a lot of hype or overhyped or whatever. There was a lot of statements coming out about how Tom Cruise called up the director and was like, "Hey, this is the best movie of all time." James Gunn calling in and saying, "Hey, this is the best movie of all time." I almost want to say Christopher Nolan or maybe it was James Cameron also called in and was like, "Hey, this is the best movie of all time." Like, I don't know how realistic those situations were, or what the context of
I
that
heard
dialogue
about
was.
Tom Cruise, but everything else I didn't.
Yeah, no, there was a bunch
I
of
heard
celebrities that they were capitalizing like the marketing for of like, yeah, these
I
guys
heard
said
James
it, this
Gunn.
movie's great. Yeah, James Gunn as well. Like, I don't know, there was a lot. So again, there was a lot. Was it writing on this movie being as good as people were making it out to be, or as good as people were hoping it would be? Following the disasters of whatever. What was the last thing we watched? You guys didn't like Wonder
Black
Woman
Adam.
2. There was Black Adam.
Ugh.
Shazam. Well, we didn't see Shazam.
I
We
saw
Shazam.
never.
Shazam.
I never saw the second one, and I
How
know
did
it's
you
on
feel about
Max,
it?
so
Um, eh.
that sounds
Yeah.
about right.
Yep.
So we'll see. Does it live up to its hype? We're gonna do cards, but in a reverse fashion, where I will go first, then Ham, and then we'll leave it for Mike to kind of lead us into the conversation a little bit with his card. Seeing that out of the three of us, he's probably the most of a DCU movie fan, despite all the downfalls that he's experienced with these movies.
I'm
Oh no,
For
Reverse Flash.
Yeah,
fuck you.
so actually that works out. All right,
Yeah.
so for me, damn, I'm just gonna start with the yellow for right now. Although I know probably in this conversation I can easily talk myself into a red. So for now, I'll just say yellow. Ham,
I like that you said yellow because that's where I'm leaning towards. And
between red and yellow or yellow and green?
red and yellow, of course.
Okay, so
But
between both.
I don't see it moving, but we'll
Oh
see.
no, it's definitely not moving up. No, it's not moving
Yeah.
up. It's a question of whether does it stabilize at yellow or do we just drop flatline to
Yeah.
red.
Yeah.
So now, Mike, what card are you gonna give the Flash?
I guess it's a hat trick because I'm in the same way as you guys. I'm like in a yellow and red as well too. Um,
Right. No one's gonna
right,
convince
right
the
now,
other. Stalemate.
right now I'm a yellow. Right now, I am a
Okay, so then we
yellow.
can all agree that this is not a great movie, and that it's not worth all the hype that the marketing is giving it.
Yes, it's
I
not worth
mean,
the
it's
hype
as good as
whatsoever.
Spider Verse, so.
What?
What? Oh, fucking.
All right, he's paying attention, everybody. Good, good, good.
Mike, what's the first thing you want to bring up in this conversation?
I just want to just mention the things that I liked about the film first, because it's that the things that I liked about the film are the distractions to distract people because of a weak storyline and a very bad casting of Ezra Miller as the Flash. Um, the positive things about it is that Michael Keaton for me, like if this is the first time listening to this podcast, I am a huge DC fan. I love Batman. I love all the heroes. I will honestly will argue that I think the heroes for DC are better than Marvel. But unfortunately, Marvel fucking the MCU is phenomenal, and unfortunately DC don't know how to make their live action movies great whatsoever, except for their animation. But nobody's gonna pay attention to the animation films. And
Not
Flashpoint
really, no.
Paradox. Yeah, Flashpoint Paradox is definitely one of the best storyline comics ever, my opinion, maybe.
Agree. Yep.
You know, and there's just so much great emotions behind it, so much great actions, so much great like of everything, you know what I mean? Like there's moments where you're like, happy, you're sad, you're depressed, and then you're like on the edge of your seat. And once they did this film, I was like, it's already too late. there's no good setups. There's no good, that great story that they wanted to continue from other films that leads up to this, and we didn't get a proper Flash film before coming into this film, and this is the first film of the Flash, and that's what kind of hurts it as well too. There's no really stability. But the good thing about the film is that it's, first off, Michael Keaton. I think Michael
Yes.
Keaton was the best thing of this film.
Hmm.
He is that cool fucking uncle that everybody has mentioned. He's, of course, everybody's first Batman, of course, except for Adam West. That if you're all the way from all the way back in the years, but this is the cool Batman. This is the awesome, cool uncle that, he's fucking hip. He has great charm, and he has like those funny, great, crazy one-liners. And and he got some shine in this film, and I loved it, and I thought it was great. Some of the other jokes were kind of funny. I don't know why I laughed so hard when. And ladies and gentlemen, spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. We're going to talk heavy spoilers.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. One of the things that I laughed really hard is when the second Barry was putting on the mask, and when he turned around to look at the other Barry, his mask is all messed up.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was
that was dumb.
that was dumb, but I don't know why I laughed. And there are some little, like, little good humors here and there, and somewhat, and the nostalgia of it was, there's a lot of great nostalgia that brings up old school characters and certain questionable people. But that's the only thing I could say, that the film is decent. It's somewhat fun, but when you look into it as a comic book person who loves the storyline of Flashpoint Paradox, this is a fucking weak ass adaptation to it. So I just don't understand of the direction that they wanted to go through with this film. You know what I mean? They want
Okay.
us to feel sorry about Barry's mom, but yet we don't spend time at all with Barry's mom. We
But the
don't
mom
have.
was really good. Like I really liked the actress that played the mom. She was
Oh,
very sweet, very caring,
yeah.
like played that mother role very, very well. Like for the little that she was on there, it almost seemed like a kind of like an Aunt May type of thing for me. I was like, oh, you know what? I could
Mhm.
actually care for your what's gonna happen to your character as a whole.
Right, right. No, no, no. I will agree with you. I think the actress did a phenomenal job, but I just don't think it spent so much time with her. Like, for an example, like Aunt May. Like, if you're trying to I'm not trying to compare. Well, I kind of am, but you know what I mean. Like, we have time with Aunt May. We have time with certain, like, like Superman's mom, Martha. You know, um, and then with this film, like, we only see little bit of. I think, honestly, I think screen time overall was like 5 minutes with her, and then not until towards the end, the ending of the film is where we get like somewhat of a deep connection with her, where I was already checked out already. I was like, okay,
Mm.
all right, I really don't. I mean, you're gonna die. I'm sorry. Like, I like your acting, but I don't really care. I don't feel the great emotions, and it's just like and towards the end of the film, I was comparing it to the CW show, like season one of with Grant Gustin,
Whoa.
where
Well,
I
mm,
cried in that one. And of course, it's a show. We have more time to develop and everything like that.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though. There's no development with Ezra Miller's Flash. We only see him one time, and that's Justice League, and we barely get to know him. And in
yeah.
this film, they shove it down your throat of like, hey, it seems like there was multiple films that were supposed to happen with him, and it comes down to this film, and it's just like there's a lot of things missing. And of course, it was like somewhat of like what could have happened, and so forth, and et cetera, et cetera. And we know what happened with DC, that it just completely fucking crumbled down with Justice League and everything. And it just, like, I don't know, like, it just fell flat for me. It's just, the story was just like, meh, whatever. It was also, what we were gonna say.
No, let's okay. So let's dial back. Hold on. Let's give Ham a couple of things to say, and then there are a lot of points that you're hitting that I kind of disagree with, but in a way we sort of come to the same conclusion. But Ham, general takes on the movie. Don't go into specific spoiler moments, especially the ending parts of it. Just overall, like, how were you feeling about the Flash when you watched it? When Michael Keaton came on, the characters, what were your general takes?
I think well, it suffers from how DC came about doing Justice League and like, all right, we're just gonna put people there and not, build their characters before that, seeing as though this is technically his first movie, even though Justice League did come out. So it's like, oh, you should know who this is. So that's where it does fail. Um, Ezra Miller, I think, did fine, especially playing two characters. I mean, that's almost, you don't even think about it, where you're like, that's just him acting with himself. So I thought they did very well. It didn't look weird. I mean, I could see a little bit maybe where I'm like, oh, that's the real one. That's where they put his face on somebody else. Story. I mean, if you're gonna compare it to the comics, which I know, I feel like that's what Mike was doing. It does fall flat. It's not good compared to it. Michael Keaton, of course, one of the best things in the movie. Um, I like that he was in it, and I don't like how there's like, yep, Gotham's peaceful. It's like, okay, maybe.
Was he
I
that
don't
good
know.
of a Batman that there's no more crime in Gotham
Yeah, I
City?
know, right? Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Sure.
like knowing into what
But
happened after the Penguin, like at Batman 2, like,
yeah, I don't that yeah, I didn't like that. So um, everything else was fine, I guess. I do like the time travel sort of explanation. That was interesting and felt fresh compared to other things.
we could all agree that
And
the CGI was terrible, right?
The CGI was bad
uh
in a lot of places.
oh, especially in the what's it called? The
Speed Force,
Juggernaut Ball, the fucking, it has a
Juggernaut
name.
Ball?
the Speed
I
Force,
no, the chrono chamber, chrono
Oh,
Chrono
ball.
Chamber when they're putting their fingers together.
No. I'm saying where that looked like an arena and it had really.
yeah, that's the Speed Force where he's going
Yeah,
through time.
that's the Speed Force. Yeah.
No, it actually has a name. It's the chrono something. Look it up. I'll bet
Oh,
money
I
on
just
it.
thought it
But
was the Speed Force.
I thought
no,
it was the
Speed
Speed Force.
Force was like the blue zone. Then he got into the chrono ball
I believe you,
thing.
sure.
It's something weird. Yeah, that CGI in there looked like Beowulf back in what 2006. I'm like, oh no. Also, some dumb shit. Chip and Dale sort of explained it more when they go to that CGI area that looks creepy as fuck. I've seen games do better. So yeah, CGI not great. Um, and just the resolve of everything. It's like cool. This movie didn't need to happen. Like what is the point? Barry learned the point. Yeah, that could have been done in an hour. So yeah, I still like some of the scenes and all that, and of course Michael Keaton. That's why I still will give this a yellow for now.
Okay.
So my thing is
Yeah.
like a lot of the parts of this movie work very well in isolation. Like if you just took strictly the Batman stuff alone, holy fucking
Yeah,
shit, that stuff was great. Especially him doing the action shit. Like
Yeah.
10
yeah.
out of 10. Supergirl, I love Supergirl. I thought she was great. I liked her character. I liked how they kind of explained a little bit of like how she came about instead of Kal-El. I was like, okay, great. Like this would be cool. She could have her own solo movie. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Ezra Miller as the Flash. I This is the part I disagree with Mike. Like I actually liked his Barry Allen in this movie way better than I did in Justice League. In Justice League, I felt like he was a fucking prick of a joke or whatever. And here, it almost had like some reminiscence of like Grant Gustin Flash a little bit. I'm like, okay, you're really playing the awkward scientist role a bit better than I thought you could have. And the fact that he played a variant, I guess you could say, of him and interacting with himself, like I thought he did fairly well. I was like, yeah, I liked this. But in all these different parts, though, they don't work well together. And it's almost like you could have
Hmm.
taken out Batman and the movie still would have been the same. You could have taken out Supergirl and the movie still would have been the same. Like,
Yeah.
it just almost felt like it didn't matter. Where with the Flashpoint comic, and it's almost not fair to kind of compare it to the comic book, although that's where
Yeah.
the inspiration comes from, because the comic book is a very drastic storyline. We're talking about Thomas Wayne, Bruce's father, end up being Batman in that series, and there,
Hmm.
his death being kind of like a pivotal point for Flash in that comic book. Here we get obviously a completely different take, but it just didn't feel like it was needed. It's almost like what was the point of going through this cycle when you could have easily just taken these characters out and maybe just focused solely on Flash going back in time and fucking up his future and just focus on his character and his development throughout that whole thing. And what sucked is that it sacrificed the younger Barry Allen and his development to become Black Flash, which is what we see in the movie. Because I almost felt like when the transformation started, like I didn't even think about it that he was the one becoming Black Flash until he got the scars, right? Until he got the scar on his cheek, and
Hmm.
he got the blade on his arm. I'm like, oh, he's becoming the Black Flash. Okay, cool. Let's see where this goes. But it was so quick to just like, okay, yeah, we see him go try to fix time so much, like all these times, and he's getting these shards in him, and then Black Flash comes in and he's like, "You created me. You're the reason of this," and then he just goes away. It was like literally like a matter of minutes. Like that whole storyline just resolves, and it's almost like it's very dissatisfying. It's like you could have had something really cool here, but you decided to capitalize on the Batman and Supergirl nostalgia shit and just like focus on that to bring people into your movie rather than just focus on the Flash aspect. And it almost felt like
Mhm.
this movie tried to cram its origin movie and its sequel all in the same time.
Yes.
And
Yes.
because like was it really necessary for them to
Yeah.
have to like really what like recreate his origin? Like I almost felt like that was you were just doing that because you didn't get a chance for people to show like what he went through to become the Flash. But it just felt like it was a disservice to the character. It's like, why are you rushing it like this, and why are you just kind of glossing over it when in that instance for that character, it kind of was sort of a big deal. So it sucked. Like the way that this storyline just felt like a spaghetti, right? That's the reference they used in the movie. It felt like
Uh-huh.
spaghetti.
I
It just
actually wanted spaghetti after that.
it sucked, and like I wanted to like halfway through the movie I was like I want to like this movie and I think I am liking this movie, but by the time I realized that I was getting so distracted with Batman and so distracted with Supergirl, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't really like this movie. Like a lot of the cool stuff is happening, but we're not getting a cohesive storyline to really let me enjoy the Flash, because now I'm just here for Batman and Supergirl and not so much of Barry Allen.
That's how I felt too. But I'm going to all right, I'm going to give credit to Supergirl, the actress, because I really did like her playing as Supergirl. But the thing is that I didn't like her in the film because it just felt like a distraction. Of course, like Superman and Flashpoint was one of the big parts of the storyline, and in this one, I just felt it as a distraction of like let's put this superhero in it and this distract from the Flash, because when you think about it, Flash overall doesn't really do much in the film. Like there's no really like there's no real villain. There's no real like I don't know. I didn't feel any type of like I don't want to say danger. There was danger because and towards the end, you're starting to care about Supergirl and Batman. But with the Flash, it's like, what are you going to do? You're going to do the same thing in Justice League, just pretty much just avoid, dodge, and that's it. And those characters just ended abruptly. Like we only like, of course, like Michael Keaton said, like a little goodbye thing. He's like, oh, you brought me back. There's no need to go back or whatever. But with Supergirl, she just kept on getting like fucking killed,
Mm-hmm.
and then it just ended with her. Like it just ended. there was like no good like story. I mean, there was no good like
Conclusion to her.
conclusion to her, or even Michael Keaton's Batman. And then with Barry being the evil Barry, where I kind of like I don't know, because I saw, I kind of predicted it a little bit of the CW show, that Savitar.
Yeah, yeah,
So I was like, hmm, it could be one of those, the Grim Reaper police from, from Speed Force, or that could be an evil Barry, more likely. And it turned out to be evil Barry, and I was like, okay, sure, why not? And the motives of that Barry was kind of like, I kind of liked it, but then again, it became just like a little, okay, boom, done, sacrifice, killed himself. I didn't even feel like he like kind of like
But
wanted to die.
I
It
didn't
was,
even like I didn't even like how they resolved that, because at least with the
yeah,
the Flash series, those things that kept going after him, whether it was Savitar or even the Reapers, whatever you call them, like they continuously go after him. In the movie, Black Flash only goes after him like once, maybe no, once really, to punch him, punches him out of the whole thing. He gets lost in that, where he meets younger Barry, and then we don't see him again until the end of the movie, where they
yeah,
don't even really fight. It's just a conversation of like how he's been trying to fix things and he's closer and closer. And I'm like, that's not satisfying. Like I would have liked it better if he was like so pissed off at the Flash that every time Flash kept going back through like the Chrome, whatever Ham wants to call it, like he just kept
yeah.
going after him again and again and trying to kill him because of all the shit that he's doing and all the things that he's suffering through is because of that Flash. But we don't get that. It's just like, hey, I'm almost there to fix this. Oh fuck. Well, now I'm dead. Like there's no point. Like now
There's no
everything's
point.
just like race. Like it was just such a waste of a character.
And the thing is that also too, like you see Barry getting tied down, and then you see the movie's having its own Infinity Crisis, where the worlds are colliding, and then you see like member berries, Christopher Reeves, um, Superman and Supergirl, and then you see the most surprising
Mm.
Superman ever, Nicolas Cage, because he tried out to be Man of Steel one to be in the movie. Like he's a huge Superman fan, where he even named his kid Kal-El. Um, and you see like Adam West Batman, you see all these other types of worlds that are about to collide, and I'm just like, man, how many other like storylines are you trying to fit in here? Like you're trying to put Flashpoint, and you're trying to put like an origin story, just like Sal mentioned, and also too, you're trying to put like Infinity Crisis too as well. Come on, like the movie's getting a little bit too clustered now. Like what the fuck? And then also too, like towards the end, where he was saying goodbye to his mom, that was kind of like a somewhat of a nice moment. But I was like, okay, sure, why not? But I like the song more, a little bit more than the actual thing. Um, and then of course he fixed the tomatoes to look up instead of down for his dad. And then of course the surprise guest, George Clooney, is back as Batman, baby. Bat nips. Fuck yeah. Bat credit card. But then again, of course, like after the credits, there's a scene. He's talking to Aquaman, and this is what I
Such
was a
a
little.
pointless post credit scene.
Yeah, lawyer. Every time when he goes back to change something, there's different Batmans. I'm like, okay,
You know what I bet that post credit scene was, and maybe Ham will agree with this because he thinks about this kind of shit. That post credit scene almost seemed like a fulfillment of Manoa's contract into like the DC universe, right? You know how the Marvel actors are like they used to be signed up for 9 movies and a
yeah.
cameo would count as one of those movies. Well, then they probably promised Momoa like one like a couple of films, and then they're like, well, fuck, if we're not going to use this Aquaman, well, we have to use them here now, and so there we go. We throw him into a post credit scene.
Well,
boom.
yeah. I also read somewhere that Ben Affleck was gonna be in Aquaman 2, so they took him out of that.
Is that movie even
And
still coming out?
Yeah, November.
yeah,
Aquaman 2?
Yeah,
yeah,
Don't you think we should have seen like a teaser trailer for that movie in this one?
yeah. By now, yeah.
yeah. So for some reason they took him out of that and then put him in this, just so maybe it still relates. But
Wait,
Why
when
would
did Blue Beetle
But
why would
come
that
out?
even
yet
matter?
again, what Jason Momoa's character, what Aquaman said in that film was like, so you go to different time zones, but I'm still the same me. And Barry was like, yeah, you're still you. Awesome. So I was like, wait, so is he coming back? Is he Aquaman? He's not Lobo? What's going on?
When does Blue Beetle come out?
August.
September, October, November. Okay, so maybe that's when we'll get our teaser trailer for that one.
Probably. I'm not
That's
too
so
sure.
crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, we also get Wonder Woman in this movie. Don't forget that.
Oh my god, beautiful, the
Yes.
beautiful Gal Gadot. But she was just in here just for that cameo, just like how she was in spoilers
Shazam.
So
alert,
was
on
everybody
Shazam.
else.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and, Henry Cavill, computer. Yeah, I mean, TV, CGI TV.
Yep.
Everything.
Stop it
Well,
about game.
The
Yeah,
only Justice League that didn't get anything was
right.
whoever played Cyborg.
Yeah. Friendly Terminator.
oh, he's not coming back.
So
Nah.
that's the thing where I settle for a yellow because of all the cool parts in isolation, but as a whole, I just don't think I really like the movie. Like, it's fun to watch. I would even go as far
Yeah.
as say, yeah, go check it out at the movie theater. You'll probably have a fun time, especially if you're fans of like Batman. Like, you're gonna enjoy just watching it for the action sequences or just for like the big set pieces.
Yeah.
But as a cohesive movie, like no, and that's why I'm like really torn. Like, am I just giving it a yellow because I'm being too generous because Michael Keaton's in there, or do I just really hate this movie and like should I just settle for a red? Because I don't know. Ham seems to be stuck on yellow. Are you sure?
I don't know. I knew. I agree that. What is the first scene you see Flash doing? Saving CGI babies.
The
And I'm
ugly
like,
guy babies.
yes, correct. And I'm
Don't
like,
forget
okay,
the
this
CJ
is
doggy.
yes. I'm like, oh, this is what the movie's gonna be like. Okay. So the right word she used was it was very cringe. Like just the humor in it. I'm like, okay, like that's how bad it is, that it's like almost as bad that it's good, because it's like, oh, who would let that
I will
slide?
shamelessly admit I chuckled when they did the whole "Hey Barbie, let's go party" line tagline there.
Oh no, that's what it is. It's like even the mask part, like you said, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of funny, but in like a cringy way. So I think if you can get over that, then it's a yellow. But
Yeah.
I let it be because it didn't.
But I wouldn't go watch this movie again. I would only isolate the Batman part of it, and then that's it. That's the only part I would rewatch.
Yeah, I didn't understand General Rosado in this film. I wish they used somebody else.
Yeah, that was another thing. It's like, oh, I think even the actors I saw somewhere, the actor was just like,
He didn't want
yeah,
to
I
come
didn't feel
back.
like I did a good job or it was worth it or something.
Well,
I'm like,
because yeah,
ouch. Okay.
he didn't have much of a I don't know a character arc for him in this movie. I
Yeah.
think that's why he
Which,
enjoyed Man of Steel better.
Yeah,
yeah,
he
no,
said Man of Steel, he said was like he put his heart and soul into that character in Man of Steel, and then in this one they were like, "Oh, you're just gonna pop up and say a couple of lines and that's it." And he's like, "First, I need to get," like he said that he needed to call Zack Snyder and to get his approval.
but
And
I do
like,
agree with Sal. It feels like, like Tales of the Crypt thing or something else where it's three different little episodes all in one big episode where it's first one's, oh, you're gonna show him do his thing with the Batman of his universe. Then the second one's origin story with another version of himself. Then it's, oh, Batman time, and then, oh, uh what is it? Supergirl time. Yeah. And just the ending right at the end that like wraps it all up not well. So yeah, it did feel disjointed. But again, there's some very cool parts in the movie. Of course, they mentioned Back to the Future and Eric Stoltz. Well, there goes my bias. Yeah, so
it's not a bad film. It's an enjoyable film. You don't need to watch.
but for the wrong reasons.
It,
Like,
it is. It is
Yes.
for the wrong reason. It's one of those. The thing is that this is not a superhero. I mean,
here's,
it's a superhero
here's
film, but it's
here's
not
the
a
thing. Like,
superhero film.
Mike is gonna hate me for saying this, but I could argue and say that Fast Five is a more entertaining film as a whole as opposed to this movie, where it's not an entertaining film from beginning to end. It's only entertaining for the parts that I care about, which is the Batman part.
No,
Hey,
Like
no,
with
no.
Ark.
Fast
I'm
Five,
not
like
gonna
everything
disagree with
else,
you.
like you have Jason Momoa sprinkled all over Fast Five, and you
Oh, you
still
mean
get
Fast
some
10?
or whatever Fast 10, whatever.
Okay, I
The
was
Oh,
about
last
to
Fast
say.
movie.
Yeah.
Uh, okay,
um,
so yeah, correct that. The last Fast movie, Fast X, Fast 10, whatever.
yes.
Jason Momoa is sprinkled throughout the entire movie, and like it's enjoyable, and like those parts are funny, and he had a good time, and you could tell that you can enjoy that. And yeah, none of the shit like is really relevant anymore, but at least you're like you understand like what's going on with the story. You've grown with the characters because you've seen all these movies. It's just it's more entertaining from beginning to end than this movie is.
I will somewhat meet you halfway. I would be like, you're half right because the only person I liked in Fast 10 was Jason Momoa, and in this one, I like two people. So half right. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just like I'm not gonna remember. I mean, I'm gonna remember this. I mean, I don't think I'm going to really remember this film just because like down the long way, this film is going to be erased.
That's the other problem too, is that there's no relevancy to this movie anymore. Like it's a one and done, which it doesn't feel like it's a one and done.
No, because we don't even get who the fuck killed. I mean, of course, we all know that it was Reverse Flash that killed the mom, but in the film, there's no hints. There's nothing. It's just like she died and that's it. And it's like, wait, really? Like, what the fuck?
I mean, the last thing I want to bring up is they're not even going to continue with Ezra Miller. I mean, it's at 100%. Is that almost 80,
I feel like
90?
that's like
What?
a 98.76%.
The director said is that if there is a sequel to this movie, that he wants Ezra Miller black back as the Flash. I said black, back as the Flash.
Well, he was Black Flash, so
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
Black Flash. Yeah, so he wants them. He said he wants them back if there's a sequel. And James Gunn mentioned is that we will look into it if there's a sequel. We will
that means
see.
no. That means
Yeah,
no.
I
I
don't
mean,
even know how you would do a
I
sequel.
think they need to move on from Ezra Miller. I think Hollywood needs to move on from Ezra Miller. He needs
I,
to go fix whatever is wrong with him.
I think
Like,
if James Gunn is if they're saying that James Gunn is the reboot of the entire universe, then they need to fully commit and recast everybody to ensure that this is a fully rebooted universe.
I agree.
Even the
I agree.
Batman?
Even no, I
Th-
think honestly, I wouldn't even be
Don't
surprised if Robert
nope.
Pattinson somehow becomes part of James Gunn's Bat universe.
Maybe
I wouldn't mind that. I would not mind that.
they could fuck it up though.
They could easily fuck it up, and they could fuck up my boy Robert Pattinson.
All right. Well, Mike Ham is solidifying on a yellow. Mike, are you solidifying on a yellow?
I'm a yellow. I'm going to be a yellow. The movie's not bad, but it's not good. It's not 95%. It's not 80%. I will honestly say, like, if I mean, I could give it a yellow card. It's like 60% to 55%. It's still in that range. Am I right?
Yeah, it's only because it has Batman, and if there was no Batman, I'd probably give it a red.
But like,
But then
would
that's
I?
almost
That's
I should drop
yeah,
down to a red because then in that case, like every time you bring up, oh, it's a kids film, we drop you down a card because we know how you really feel about the film.
yeah. That's true.
Hey,
Because like, if they didn't have Michael
I'm
Keaton,
Batman.
if they didn't have Michael Keaton, I would have probably gave this a red card.
But I almost, and even though Michael Keaton, I didn't like the way he started. I was like, what the fuck is going on with this Batman? Like first of all, he's okay. So there's no crime, which doesn't make any sense to begin with. And are we really still in Gotham? And then the second thing is like he's just like an old hermit. Like really, like they're gonna go this route with that character? I don't know. I think I'm just gonna drop to a red because I'm not. I won't rewatch this. I'll
Red like the
rewatch the
Flash.
Batman clips on YouTube maybe, but I won't rewatch this movie. I can't recommend this movie really as a whole, just because it's irrelevant to the entire universe, and it's not going to be for everybody, especially if people don't even know who Michael Keaton Batman is. Like
Oh
they're
my
not,
god,
Ooh.
yeah, I want to slap him.
they won't even know the George Clooney reference either. Like that's
Oh
not
my
going to
god,
like
yeah, bat nips,
there's a lot of things in this movie that
bat
go
credit
so
card.
way over the head of the casual person. Like, whereas opposed to an MCU movie,
Oh,
any casual can go see that movie and be like, yeah, I can enjoy this movie, just despite like whoever shows up or whatever.
yeah.
Like, it didn't matter. So this one, yeah, I'm not gonna give it a yellow out of the generosity of the cameos. I'm just gonna give it a red because I just don't think it works as a
I
whole.
think you talked yourself down. We didn't talk you. We didn't talk you down. You
He
talked
did.
yourself down. I don't think
Yeah, he
anything
did.
that I
He
mentioned
already
that
knew
you.
you wanted to give it a red.
Yeah,
No,
I'm gonna
I
stick
really
with.
wanted to enjoy this movie because I am honest when I said I enjoy the parts in isolation. I love the Supergirl
Yeah,
part. I love the Batman part. I liked Barry Allen better in this movie than I did in Justice League. But I just didn't like the whole thread that went through this entire movie because it
yeah.
just didn't feel like anything. I got the bowl of
There's
spaghetti, but there was no sauce.
ooh,
Ooh.
ugh, nasty. And you
Ooh.
got like mayo instead, like instead of the red sauce. I will say this though, I have one request, and I don't know if they're ever going to listen to this. More likely not, never. Um, give I forget what was her name, the actress name as Supergirl. Give her
Give
another.
Ezra Miller an Oscar. Okay.
Fuck that. But give her another chance. Bring her to the new DC universe. Bring her aboard. I like her. I see her passion. I see the potential in her as Supergirl. Don't let this be just the last film with her, please.
We'll see. All right. Do I got time to talk about Jedi Survivor?
Yes.
All right. Ham, you get a lightsaber in this game.
All right, I'm about to cut you with a lightsaber.
Well, don't spoil it for me, but I want to
No,
know your.
I'm gonna keep it really short. It does everything that the first movie does, but surpasses it.
Movie?
Way
Wrong.
the first was it Fallen Order?
Fallen
No.
Order. Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
Fallen Order. I have only really two nitpicks.
of
Not two
course.
issues. Two issues. One issue is the same issue I had in the first one. The map still fucking sucks. The map is still like that 3D hologram shit that
Oh
you
yeah.
don't know where you are exactly. And then it does this thing where now you can like differentiate the levels, but it doesn't even help anything. Because then it's like, how do we get to that level? Because it's not a smooth transition of like, oh, I go down this tunnel. Nope. It's a hard like highlights everything on the second floor, but doesn't highlight the connections that it makes from the first floor. So I still hate the map. I get that they're trying to go for that old school kind of feeling there, but I just feel like we need to kind of get away from that because it just was not helpful at all. So the map was an issue. My second problem with this game was that you know how I don't know if you guys were following anything, but like people were talking about how bad the frame rates were and how bad like the
Oh
loading and stuff
yes.
is.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have any issues at the start of the game, but the after like the first couple of patches that they did, it got worse for me. As it got better for some people, it got worse for me. And I was like, I don't even know why I downloaded this patch. Like I wish I could have stopped it because then the loading and the oh man, the slowdown was so bad. Like at that point, I was glad I was finished with the game because I would have been so frustrated to play the storyline if I had gotten what I got at that point. Like I don't know, it was really weird that the more that they updated it, the worse it got for
The
me.
worst it got. Damn.
Yeah. Otherwise, everything else is great. Customization is so much better. You can like you have like a double bladed lightsaber that can turn into two lightsabers that can turn into other things, and you can customize every fragment of the hilt. You can color code it however you want to, and you have different variants of the colors. You can change the color of your BD unit. There's a lot of customization options as far as like your dress wear, like your how you dress. But what's weird is that the first one focused heavily on ponchos. This one focuses very heavily on facial hair, which is
Mm.
very odd.
And
Wow,
man
those
buns?
punches were
Man
stupid.
buns? Any man buns?
Any what?
Man buns?
I think so. I think there is at least one in there. Um, the storyline is really good. It's it actually is very predictable as to what is going to happen very early on in the game. But I think I just like the motivation and the way they connected the characters together that led me through it, despite knowing what was going to end up happening. I think that really helped a lot of the storyline. Um, the open worldness to it, like being able to still travel or still kind of travel across like the different sections of the lands and be able to um go through crevices and caves to kind of retrace your steps as well is done much better, but also it has the nice feature of fast traveling in this one, which helps out a lot, especially when you're trying to discover new areas or trying to go back to complete a puzzle or something. So that was a huge benefit. But the one thing that I feel like, Ham, I sort of I hinted that you were gonna like this a lot more, and I want to tell you what this is because I think you will like it. So can I please tell you what this one thing you're gonna like?
Can I play as Jar Jar Binks?
No.
Then boo.
Ham, you know how you like Digimon World because when you go and do shit, it helps your city?
Ah.
There's a mechanic like that in here where you go do shit and it strengthens like your home base, so to speak.
Ooh.
Okay.
And it takes place in a location that I know you're gonna enjoy the hell out of it. So
Interesting.
I think I like the features, the additions they put in there, the variety of characters you get to meet, and the dialogues you get to have. The dialogues have like no impact to the story. They're just like sort of nice, sort of tangents that you get to interact with as you like kind of return to this sort of point of origin in between the entire storyline. Um, and it definitely leaves it off, so not as like not a cliffhanger, but definitely heavily hints as to what is going to happen in the next game. Whether or maybe it may be a series, I don't know, but they definitely leave it off something with Cal Kestis as to what's going to happen with him and how people are going to hypothesize as to how it's going to get resolved or whatnot. It leaves on a sort of interesting note. But yeah, I definitely recommend the game. It is very very good. 10 out of 10 green card.
How do I
Damn.
fast travel?
You gave
How
the
do you?
gave the last one a yellow card, I think.
No, I thought I
What?
gave the last one a
No
green card.
way.
Really? Fallen Order? And damn. I thought you gave it a yellow card.
It was good. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was really good.
Oh, okay. No,
Maybe
I
you
thought
gave it a yellow
no, no,
card.
no. I gave it a green card. I thought that game was game of the year.
There's no way I gave it a yellow.
Maybe.
Yeah. Damn. All right. I gotta get
How do I
that.
fast travel again?
It's the meditation points. It's just like Dark
Okay.
Souls. I think when Dark Souls 3 started fast traveling, it's a
Yeah.
meditation
Yeah.
point. Like you have once you open it up, then you can fast travel to that same point.
Mm.
I just have to walk over it, right? I don't have to actually like use it.
You have
You
to
just
sit down, right?
you go into the meditation pose and then yeah, that's it. You can get out of that. You don't have to
Oh,
refresh or whatever.
you actually have to get in there. You can't
Yeah.
just like walk by it.
No, you have to actually get in there.
All right, I might have to go back to that
Get
one
in
and
that
just wait.
ass.
All right.
All right.
All right.
That's pretty much it. Next topic hopefully will be Transformers, Mike. And
Yeah.
And the blackening.
no, we're not watching the blackening.
Not blackening.
Maybe what was it? Extraction
They
2 or whatever?
they
Extraction
sound racist.
2.
They sound racist.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, do that thing you're supposed to do.
Hey guys, follow us on social media: Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, WRMA Cast. Write us an email, and we'll talk to you about everything about tickets, elevators, you name it, at drunkcop.ateacher@gmail.com.
Elevators?
Yeah, earlier he was talking about elevators. At work? No?
Yeah, a little
Talking
bit.
about an elevator.
Yeah,
A little bit. Yeah.
he's like
Oh,
elevators. Yep.
I missed
Check.
that conversation.
Not too sure.
All right. Other than that, any final words, gentlemen?
Don't fuck up the time line? Question mark?
Uh,
Hey Barbie.
Let's go Barbie.
Kevin Bacon.
It's hey Barbie, let's go party. Get it right.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
We're
Are we
reviewing that,
watching
aren't
that
we?
movie?
I